Welcome to the Silver Lining with yours truly, Randy Silver. We're here to recap the Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz fight and give you instant reaction. It just ended. Let's go into the whole main card for you. Especially, let's dive into very deep Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz. So let's go straight into it. Here is your running order. Here's the card. First, what we want to dive into is Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz. How'd that fight go? Paul won by decision. I called that. There were bets on that as well, so your boy got some money. Not that surprising. Jake's has the power, but he's only knocked out people here and there. Nate has the gas tank, but he doesn't have the power. We haven't seen him knock people out in the UFC, so I really wasn't expecting him to knock someone out, but he'd be able to have a chance and last. So Paul won by decision. We're going to dive all into all the rounds for you, everything in between. Serrano kept her championship with a win by decision. This was not close against Heather Hardy. Avila won by decision. He had missed weight, but he still looked good. H.O. Silva was the only person in the main card to get a knockout in the 4th round. Up and comer, we're going to preview him a little bit as well. And then last 2 fights, Green won by decision and Sanchez won by decision. So let's start with what happened with the arrivals. Let's show you how they were like. Here's Nate Diaz arriving. And then let's show you Jake Paul. Nate Diaz just arrived normal, ready to go fight. Jake Paul ready to go to war. Call of Duty time. He came on a tank, ready to put on a show. So, very unique. We got better. Videos, app on there, sponsored, money. Very cool to see how they were able to do this. Fun, social media, all about giving that entertainment value. So now we can dive more into the actual fight that we all care about. So let's go straight into it for you. Drake bet on Diaz to win. $250 to win $1 million. He lost $250, unfortunately. Jake's older brother, Logan, was in SummerSlam in Detroit, Michigan. WWE. Fought first at that card. Got himself on a private plane. And made it to the fight in time to support his brother who's never missed a fight. That is brotherly love if I've never seen it. And still in his WWE outfit. Legit. Probably didn't shower. Woohoo! Jake walked out in his problem child black and white. Here is a full stadium, 20,000 seats sold out, American Airlines. Here's Nate walking out. Who's over his shoulder? Bay Area zone, E40, Stockton. Kind of considered Bay Area, but Northern California, represent. Used to live out in SF. Then we get into the fight. So, here's the first round. Paul came out very strong. He was able to use his power. He stung Nate, then knocked him down, but definitely looked like there was a couple opportunities he could have got a first round knockout. Second round, it stabilized a bit more. And then some of the antics started happening, what you would expect out of a professional fight boxer, celebrity boxer, YouTube boxer, and some of the MMA. Nate was doing his typical antics where he falls back like this, acts like he's hurt, goading him, trying to hug him a little bit. He once grabbed his leg in the second round. So there was some clinching here more than a professional boxer versus a professional boxer who'd been there for a while. That would be happening. However, the big moment of the fight was in the 5th round. Jake Paul knocked down Nate Diaz. Jake called for a knockout in the 5th round, so he was pretty close. He didn't actually get it. Good punch, left hook to the temple, stumbled him, and then he fell down on the ropes, as you can see here in the pictures. Nate got right back up, no issues. Didn't seem like he was too hurt. Maybe just lost his balance off of it. Jake was had stuck his tongue out at him, was doing some antics, but this would be the highlight of the fight. 5th round knockdown by Jake Paul on Nate Diaz. Nate had the 10 count. He got up in the 5th with like 5 or 6, stood there, and was good to go. Fight continued on. Nate, as he always did in the UFC, later rounds, he got more energy, got that 2nd win, 3rd win, 4th win, and really came on. He did that in this fight, threw some good punches, won a round in there, while Jake was pretty much winning the rest of the rounds. This fight ended up going to the 10th round. As we already said, he won by decision. 10th round was fun. Nate put him in his guillotine choke, which he did in the UFC a bunch. That's his signature, so he had some fun with it, even though he knew he was losing. He said also in his corner, man, I'm sorry about this. I did some stuff I shouldn't have. So he knew he was losing the fight, but you put on a show. Fans wanted their money's worth. See Nate fight, get a show, and they got that. After the fight, they hugged it out. It was very respectful. Jake went up on the ropes and put his hand up in victory, and Jake won by unanimous decision, taking his record to 7-1 with 4 knockouts. And this one was not a knockout, it was just a decision. Now, the big thing that Jake had been talking about all week was, hey, if I win or if I lose, we have to run it back in the PFL, $10 million on the fight in MMA. I want to fight you on your turf. So after the fight, they were talking in the ring, and Nate said, as long as Real Fight Inc., which is Nate's promotion, can help co-sponsor it, I'm in. Which is a big, big statement, because he's only ever fought in the UFC. WEC before that got bought by UFC. So if he doesn't re-sign with the UFC and does fight with Real Fight Inc., co-promoting with PFL, that is groundbreaking, and that could change the game for a lot of fighters. Also, notoriety for PFL as they continue to grow their brand and be the second biggest platform in the world for MMA. You have UFC, you have one in Asia. It's not that big here, but it's massive in Asia. Bellator is there, kind of following, but PFL, they have PFL US, or North America, excuse me. They have the PFL Europe with Francisco to PFL Africa, so they're really trying to take over some global domination there. So we'll see if this happens. You know, after fights, you never stay with what people said, but hopefully we do see this in MMA, because this would be very entertaining to see Nate in his zone versus Jake coming to his turf. So that is your recap on the Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz fights. Let's recap some of the other fights on the card. Amanda Serrano was going in for her first undisputed title defense, and she made easy work. It was not a close fight. It felt like a sparring match for her. She really was out there. But the amazing part about this fight, it was so much fun. They were fighting non-stop. It was action. The crowd was into it. You see Saidi in the background here. She was a ring girl for the fight. They were promoting something for a sponsorship. It was a good fight. It was a brawl, as you expect. It was fun. And after the fight, they hugged it out and talked about promoting women's boxing more and more. So it was great to see. As you can see here by the punch cast, Serrano won pretty easily. She landed 278 punches to Hardy's 149. She threw 739 to Hardy's 557%, 38% to 27%. Not a close fight, and you could tell by the women's faces as well. Another key fight on the main card you may not know of, but this will become relevant moving forward. Ashton H2O Silva beat William Silva. Silva is signed to MVP Promotions. That's Jake Paul's promotion company. He's only 18, 19, fought someone in his mid-30s, and the young boy strength beat the old man strength. It was not a close fight. He knocked him down in the first or second round and then finished it out with the fourth round. A bunch of body shots, hooks, liver shot took him out. You can see why Jake Paul would want to sign him. He has a big potential in the 130-pound weight class to be successful moving forward. He turned pro at 16, but you can't fight in the U.S. when you're 16, as I said in the telecast. So he went and fought Tijuana until he could turn 18 to come in. So be on the lookout for H2O Silva. He'll be in much more Jake Paul's fights and overall MVP promotions. Other noteworthy fight in the card, Chris Avila, Stockton's own. Nate Diaz is one of his best friends. Beat Jeremy Stevens. This was a crossover fight. Both are former MMA fighters. Chris Avila missed weight earlier in the week, so he had to forfeit some of his earnings to Jeremy, even though Jeremy lost. But this was an entertaining fight, good fight overall. So that were the fights overall. Comment your thoughts. Let me know what you thought of them. Do you think Paul and Diaz should run it back in boxing? Probably not. Do you think they should run it back in MMA? Probably yes. Love to see that. Or any of the fights on the card. Again, my name is Randy Silver. Please subscribe so that way you can get updated when we host more of these. I put these out regularly on big sporting events, especially in MMA, combat sports, NFL, basketball, global soccer, and so much more. Jake Paul, Nate Diaz, fight card over, out.